Good day, Darksiders. I hope everyone's doing well today. So, I want to take a moment and talk about the character of Rey. Now, as many of you know, Rey's kind of a mixed character. She had potential when she was revealed, but now she's come into quite the Mary Sue character. And yes, I stand by that statement. Now, I have to make completely clear that I do not blame Daisy Ridley for the portrayal of Rey. The writing is what I blame for the portrayal of Rey. Daisy Ridley was just an actor, and she was given a role, and she played it to how it was written. You can't blame her for that. But we sure as hell can sit there and blame the writing department. But with a little bit of research I've done and backing up and looking at different types of stories, I want to take this time to kind of shine some light on what the hell happened with the character of Rey. Now, it has been very obvious that Disney has made sure that Rey has no heritage to any known Star Wars people. No Kenobis, no Skywalkers, no Palpatine. She's not related to anybody. Now, if Episode 9 comes and changes that, alright, I will stand corrected and I will admit I was wrong. But I firmly believe that she's not related to anybody. As she said, she's nobody. But see, that's the point. The message of Rey was supposed to be that nobody can become something, or that anyone could become a hero despite your lineage, your heritage. That was the point of Rey. The point of Rey was legit that she was nobody to the galaxy, but she was able to become somebody. That's where the problem, though, came along. Now, the message itself is good. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad message, but it's how they went about the message. See, they focused too much on the messaging of Rey instead of the storytelling of Rey. I mean, look, we have seen Rey do incredible things with the Force. She somehow knows how to affect people's minds, despite lack of training, because in the Star Wars canon, a mind trick is a very, very advanced technique for both Jedi and Sith. We've seen her stealth around Starkiller Base without no disguises or nothing like that. Which, you're thinking, if Han can look out a window and go, why couldn't a stormtrooper? Why couldn't a stormtrooper look out a window and go, the hell? Anyway, beyond the point. We've seen her beat Kylo Ren in their very first duel by allowing the Force to flow through her and into her. And then we've seen her do just amazing things in The Last Jedi, where, one, she bested Luke. This was supposed to be Grand Master Luke, which in the EU, he was like a god. But, I mean, in this version, he's just an old hermit that says, get off my tall grass. And then we've seen her somehow avoid dying by Snoke, which Kylo did that. Ben helped protect her. And then we see her take on Baturian guards and once again defeat Ben, no problem. And get a triple kill on the Millennium Falcon gun turret. I can go on all day. I can go on all day. But y'all know the story. Y'all have seen the videos. It's old history, alright? It's old history. But the problem is, as I said, they were focusing too much with the messaging of Rey that they forgot the storytelling element. See, they needed Rey to be a symbol. They wanted her to be a symbol. But they got lazy. Instead of allowing Rey to progress, have development, have defeats and failures to make her more real, and continue to grow as literally the basic hero story is, they pretty much had her excel at everything. Pretty much be able to do everything that she sets her mind to with no real consequences of her actions. I mean, prime example, she goes to, the Supremacy, which was Snoke's personal ship, encounters the Dark Lord and Ben, and literally there's no consequence for her action at all. I mean, if you want to count the lightsaber getting snapped in half, okay, I mean, that's fair, but as we clearly see for The Rise of Skywalker, it's put together, it's just fine and dandy, there's nothing wrong with it. Cool story, bro. Uh, it's kind of sad because of what they did with the messaging of Rey. They completely killed any form of story arc that she could have, any type of development that she can have. And honestly, if they backtrack in episode 9 and try to give her, a story arc, it's too little too late. And from what J.J. Abrams has said in the Vanity Fair article, it says, I think there's like a year or a 5-year time skip, and Rey is more confident in her abilities. So all of her advancements is off screen, which is a problem because that's not going to help the Case of Rey at all. If anything, that's probably going to make it worse, because if she comes in and does even much more powerful things, then it's really going to backfire in Disney's face. I really think it is. Because we have seen Rey be more powerful than Ben, and we've seen her be more powerful than Luke. So exactly what is the limit of Rey's power? And the only reason she has this power is legit plot convenience. That's it. Now, look, I'm not saying that it's not impossible for someone who's Force sensitive to have this much power, but it's just when you just have her do incredible things just for the pure fact of doing incredible things, it doesn't make a good character or hero arc. It just makes a Mary Sue. Hell, even Superman and all of his power, all of his abilities, he had to learn how to control them growing up. But beyond the point, there's a lot that should have happened with Rey. Honestly, she shouldn't have won that first duel with Ben. I mean, picture this for a second, alright? So, Ben is a veteran, basically. He's been trained, he knows what he's doing. Rey is a novice. She has no idea what the Force is, and she has no idea how to really handle a lightsaber. Because you gotta think, a lightsaber is a martial art all on its own. So, logically, you would assume that Ben would have beat Rey. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you go to a shooting range and you take a veteran and a novice who's never fired a rifle, who do you put money on who you bet's going to outshoot who? And there's nothing wrong with that. But what should have happened is, even if Rey sat there and allowed the Force to flow through her and guide her, Ben should have still overpowered her and knocked her down. Hell, maybe even gave her a scar, across the face or something, or on the elbow or something like that. And, he could have easily had her on the ground going, see, this is why you need a teacher. You're powerful, but you need to learn how to control it. But then the Millennium Falcon comes in, and Chewbacca uses like the autocannon that we see in Empire Strikes Back and starts shooting at Ben. And Ben could be sitting there doing good at first, but then his injury he got in his side eventually gets the better of him, where he's forced to retreat. Chewbacca comes in, Rey gets Finn, and they escape together, and Rey's left with, one, a humiliating defeat, a lesson that, yeah, she's powerful in the Force, but she can't control it, and two, she would have been, a little bit regretful and remorseful because she couldn't defeat Ben or, avenge Han Solo, the person that she grew attached to, and it would have also given her a much more reason to seek out Luke instead of just, I'm going to seek out Luke for the plot convenience. Because now she realizes, okay, Ben is a threat. He did kill his father. I need a teacher to train me the finer points of the Force. Folks, I just thought of that in the top of my head. Literally, the top of my head. So, and you're telling me the whole storyboard at LucasArts, Disney, and with J.J. Abrams couldn't think of a storyline like that? No. Because they were too focusing on the messaging of Rey. She has to be perfect, powerful, competent. I mean, the only drive for Rey is she just wants to do the right thing. And honestly, that's not much of a drive. It's really not. I mean, granted, yeah, you can have someone who wants to try to do the right thing, but I'm going to use Ezra from Rebels. He had a drive to do the right thing, but unfortunately, that drive was leading him down the dark side, as we saw, where he was opening the Sith holocron and learning abilities that the Jedi do not know, or don't use, I should say. Rey willingly gets sucked into a dark side cave, zero repercussions, encounters Snoke, zero repercussions, and escapes the supremacy, zero repercussions. You see where I'm getting at, folks? You see what the problem with Rey is. They were focused way too much on the messaging when they should have gave us a proper story. Because as I said, with that little bit of what should have happened in The Force Awakens I gave you, I think a lot of people would have forgiven like the mind tricking and a bunch of other stuff, because it would have gave the character a little bit more drive and a reason to do things other than just, I need to do the right thing and be the hero. Yeah. Now, that is the story part and the messaging part of Rey. I'm sorry if I rambled on a little bit, but I mean, it's the truth. Whether you like Rey or not, the fact is they have given her zero story arc. Now, I want to take a moment and talk about what she could be in the Star Wars universe. Now, there's been many different types of Force beings that have had very unique abilities throughout the Star Wars universe. Example, Revan. He was very powerful, and he did have the ability to enter someone's mind and like learn their languages and such. But as far as I know, he wasn't able to learn their knowledge, their power, their information, their techniques, all that fun stuff. But then we get to KOTOR 2. And if you go dark side, you do get the explanation if you go light side, but if you go dark side, you get it a lot more easier. The exile, if she goes dark side, when you drain the life force of the Jedi Masters you hunt down, you find out that the exile does have a rare ability that when she strikes someone down, she does passively absorb their power. She absorbs the force essence in her, which increases her strength. And when she builds force bonds with other people, it's kind of like, a current. It helps increase her power. And, it didn't increase her knowledge because obviously the exile had Kreia, and Kreia taught her many different things, but she did have the ability to pick up and, basically absorb their power. Kind of like how, Cell did from Dragon Ball Z, where he would absorb 18 and 17 and it increased his power. That's kind of what the exile was like. So, thinking back to those abilities that, these ancient Jedi had, we look at Rey. Is it possible that she has a rare force ability that just hasn't been seen in millennia? And her force ability is the fact that if someone enters her mind, she's kind of like a human computer where she can download their training and download their knowledge and make it her own. And hell, maybe even download, like essence of their power. Now, yes, this is canon. In the Last Jedi novelization, it is canon that Rey did this with Kylo. When they were having their weird mind leak ups, it's canon that she basically copied and pasted all of his information, his knowledge, his power. Which, once again, they were too focused on the messaging of Rey instead of the storytelling of Rey. And they had to think of some BS reason to increase her power, and that's what we get. Anyway, so if Rey is this force being that truly does have this ability, exactly what is the limits of this ability, of this power? If she's able to enter people's minds and just download their knowledge, their essence, their training, that is, in my opinion, a very dangerous ability. Because if Rey is not careful with this knowledge, she could be a knowledge hoarder and turn to the dark side. But that's a theory on its own. So, if she downloaded Kylo Ren's or Ben Solo's knowledge, Luke, I think they had a moment where Luke kind of entered her mind. Who's to say she didn't draw knowledge from Luke? When Snoke clearly entered her mind when he was flinging her around. Who's to say that she didn't passively drain some of his knowledge, drain some of his power? It's a very interesting theory to think about, but at the same time, it's a very big problem because that means that Rey is literally all powerful and all knowing just because. Now, if she does have such a force ability, alright, I mean, I'll buy it. That doesn't mean I'm gonna accept the character and think she's a great character. If anything, I mean, that just makes her just more of a poorly written character. Yeah, let's make a Force user a living computer where she can just hack into everyone and steal everything. Oh, Lord. I really don't know what else to say about this, folks. I mean, it's been said before, but I'm just trying to shine some light on the situation because they're probably going to pull some kind of maneuver like this in the future, saying, "Oh yeah, she has a rare force ability. This allows her to do this." I mean, okay, yeah, all right, fine. Doesn't mean we gotta accept it or like it, but I mean, it's just one of those things where you just either gonna go, "Oh, that's cool," or you're just gonna throw your head in shame and go, "Really, really." And from what we've seen of the Rise of Skywalker so far, I got a feeling there's going to be a lot more eye rolling when it comes to Rey and her abilities. I don't know, folks. But as I want to state again, I do not blame Daisy Ridley. She's just the actress of this. It's not her fault. It's honestly not her fault. The writing is to blame. If you want to blame anyone, blame J.J. Abrams and blame Rian Johnson. And, hell, might as well blame Kathleen Kennedy, too. Yeah, fuck it. Let's put Bob Iger in there, too. Just throw him in there for no reason. As I said, it's not Daisy Ridley's fault. It's very poor writing and very poor character development. And I am sorry, Rey. There was a time where you were very hot amongst the Star Wars community because people were really wanting to know what you were, but you were just poorly handled, poorly written, just like everything else in the sequel trilogy at this point. And I don't foresee the Rise of Skywalker blowing our expectations away. It might, but it'll probably be in a bad way. Till next time, Darksiders. I'll see y'all later.